Hey there, A's Day fans. Welcome to our Monday edition of our show. We thank each and every one of you for kicking off your week with us. Hope you all had a great weekend. I'm your host, Joe Grado, and today is Monday, July 21st, and we've got a little bit to unpack. We are going to recap what went down over the weekend, fresh off of the All Star break to kick off the second half. The A's were out in Cleveland for a 3 game set to embark on a 10 game road trip. Later in the show, we will do a preview of their next series, which is set to begin tonight down in Arlington, an AL West division clash to take on the Texas Rangers to kick off another 3 game series. We'll give you some things to look out for, as well as a couple of our normal home run and series predictions. And before we get on out of here, we want to thank one of our newer partners up in Sacramento, the Holiday Inn downtown Sacramento Arena Hotel. They were fortunate enough to host us for the July 11th to 13th weekend. So we will be sure to, well, do an ad read that you have heard on a previous show, but also give a little bit of an insight into our experience of our stay, so that if you are thinking of heading to the capital city to spend your weekend to watch your green and gold in action, we'll be sure to highly recommend the Holiday Inn Sacramento Downtown Arena as your place to stay for so many reasons. And we'll be sure where you can check out some cool content to view more. We're so thankful for each and every one of you once again. So without further ado, after the opening music, we'll get to today's show, recapping what went down over the weekend and talking everything A's baseball. Holy Toledo, let's go A's. All right. Thank you again, A's Day fans and A's fans everywhere, for tuning in to our Monday edition of our show. Before we get on with our topics of discussion, just want to give you a reminder, as we are creating content away and posting it everywhere we can. So in addition to hearing us twice a week on our podcast here, wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, be sure to continue to check us out, like, subscribe wherever you can, and tell your friends. We are looking to grow this thing collaboratively. On social media, be sure to check us out on our Instagram page at A's Day Baseball Podcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, at A's Day Baseball, on our YouTube channel at A's Day Podcast, and be sure to check out, become an official subscriber on our Patreon site, patreon.com/A's Day. For just $2 a month, you'll be entered to win monthly A's Day t-shirt giveaways, A's autograph memorabilia like we did with our event at Drake's The Barn in West Sac, as well as future A's game ticket giveaways, and so much more, like I mentioned, as we grow this thing collaboratively. All right, let's get to the first topic at hand, what went down over the weekend. The A's were headed to the Midwest fresh off of the All-Star break to kick off the second half with a 3 game set against the Cleveland Guardians. Game 1 featured a pitching matchup of J.P. Sears going up against Slade Cecconi. Jonathan Rodriguez of the Guardians, congrats to him. He would get the scoring started for Cleveland in the second as he hits a solo home run. And the reason why I say congrats, it is because that is the first home run of his major league career. It's 1-0 Guardians. To the third we go. Cleveland would really get going against Sears. RBI single by Angel Martinez. David Fry, a 2-run home run. This guy absolutely dominates left-handed pitching. And Carlos Santana would add a sacrifice fly to cap a 4-run third. It's now 5-0. Cleveland would get 2 more in the fourth via a Brian Rocchio 2-run double. It's now 7-0 Guardians. Sears would finish the frame, and his night after that would be done. He only lasted 4 innings, allowed 6 hits, 6 earned, 2 walks, 5 Ks. On to the fifth, Brent Rooker. He would make the A's Day home run prediction come through as he gets the green and gold on the board, smashing a solo home run to left field, number 21 on the year, and more importantly, number 100 of his career. Congrats to Brent Rooker, and shout out Road Trip Mike, who was at that game. He was in the left field bleachers. It seemed like it landed in his area. Nevertheless, Brent Rooker, congratulations. A nice round number for one of the most underrated sluggers in all of baseball. It's now 7-1. On would come JT Ginn for the A's, and the Guardians would add 1 more in the bottom of the fifth via an RBI single by Nolan Jones. It's now 8-1. Nick Kurtz would bring home a run in the sixth via an RBI infield single. It's now 8-2. In the seventh, A's would show a little more power as catcher Shea Langoliers, or better known as Bangoliers, hits a solo homer to left field. His 13th on the year. It's now 8-3 as they try to chip away. On to the ninth we go. Guardian starter Cecconi is still out there trying to finish this one out, up by 5. Kurtz and Rooker would knock, yeah, that's right, you heard this correctly, back-to-back triples from the Speed Demons to bring the score to 8-4. After Langoliers double brought home Rooker and closed the gap to 8-5, the Guardians would summon their closer, Emmanuel Clase. Miguel Andujar would keep the rally going with one out, ripping an RBI double to bring the score to 8-6. Nervous time in Cleveland, indeed. A's, once down 7-0 in this one, have the tying run at the dish in the ninth, down 2. Clase, however, he would rebound and bear down to strike out Max Muncy and Gio Urshela to end this one. Ball game over. Cleveland wins game 1, 8-6. So tough start from Sears. Definitely not setting the tone that the team needed coming out of the All-Star break. Only lasted the 4 innings. Definitely got roughed up in that 3rd inning for sure. It just seemed like the pitch sequencing was a little bit off, fell behind hitters, and that's just the formula for failure. And he'll tell you he definitely could pitch much better than that, especially against an offense that has certainly been struggling to find runs and offensive production. It seemed like they were settled in just fine. Like I mentioned, David Fry, has made a career so far on crushing left-handed pitchers. So that ball in that spot cannot happen from Sears. Fry took advantage of it and made him hurt. Tough way to start. Down 7-0. It's hard to win any game like that, but love the fight in this team. They're continuing to show up day in and day out with the expectation to do whatever it takes to win and to fight until the 27th out. So kudos to the philosophy and the culture that has been established on this team. You know, a lot of teams 7-0 guys or some teams may be starting to think of what position guy they're going to go in, especially game 1 of a series, so that they don't have to burn through their whole bullpen for the entirety on day 1, so that they're left shorthanded over the entirety of the weekend. That's not the case here. Obviously, the A's had an opportunity. They have some guys in their bullpen that can eat up innings, so that's one plus for the bullpen that certainly had its share of struggles. They do have a lot of guys that have starter potential, like JT Ginn and Osvaldo Bido and Mitch Spence, guys that have filled in that role to be able to eat up 3-4 innings. You know, Jack Perkins can eat up. He's had 2 or 3 innings plus saves. So these are guys that can give you some length. So that's definitely something that you don't want to have to rely on, but it's definitely a value and a benefit so that you don't have to burn through those guys that are typically going to be in situations of higher leverage and more of like 1 to 2 innings at most. So glad that Ginn was able to come in and eat up some of those innings there, as well as Hogan Harris and Elvis Alvarado. I believe they narrowed out the pitching formula in this one. So, yeah, definitely was encouraging. You know, having an opportunity to have the tying run at the plate in the ninth after being down 7-0 in a game is a testament to fortitude. So just wanted to shout that out. That would have been some comeback if they came all the way, but nevertheless, Clase, he's a tough customer. Just a little too late. Obviously, if they had another inning, if they started a little bit earlier, could have been a different story here. But that's baseball. Obviously, that's a shout out and a testament for the Guardians for building that 7-run lead. And even though it ended up being only a 2-run victory, it meant everything in the end. And that's exactly what you do when you put together a winning formula is even if it doesn't look the prettiest at the end, you build and establish that well-foundation lead. Then you do everything you can to get to that 27th out victorious, and that's what Cleveland did in this one. On to game 2, however, and the A's would certainly have momentum with the way that game ended, and you wonder if they'd have an opportunity on Saturday to tie the series at 1 apiece. On this Saturday in Cleveland, Luis Severino would be looking to keep his road strong performances going up against Cleveland left-hander Logan Allen. After trading a couple scoreless frames in this one, the Guardians would get the scoring going once again via a 2-run home run by Jose Ramirez. It's 2-0 Guardians in the 3rd. In the 4th, the A's would have an answer right back right away. Nick Kurtz, he had an RBI double. Langoliers an RBI double himself, and a Miguel Andujar RBI single cap off a 3-run inning and claim the lead for the green and gold at 3-2. Score would remain 3-2 until the 8th. Some good pitching in the middle innings of this one. Sevy, he put in another good, solid road start in this one. He went 5 innings, 3 hits allowed, 2 runs, 2 walks, 3 Ks. On to the 8th, the A's clinging to a 1-run lead. Langoliers would elevate and celebrate, giving the A's some much-needed insurance runs and a 5-2 lead via a 2-run home run, his 14th of the year. He's really cooking. It's now, like I said, 5-2. After Jack Perkins would put up another scoreless frame in this one, his 3rd of the game, A's would get back to work in the 9th. Jacob Wilson smashed his 10th home run of the year of the 2-run variety to give the A's a 7-2 lead. And just for good measure, 2 batters later, Nick Kurtz would leave the yard via a solo home run to the opposite field, his 18th on the year, to give the A's an 8-2 lead. It went Sevy to Perkins to Sterner. Ball game over. A's win this one 8-2, and even the series at 1 apiece. So Sevy, he just continues the Jekyll and Hyde performance of the 2025 season. Still struggling to find his footing at home at Sutter Health Park, but on the road he continues to pitch very well. Another solid performance, 5 innings, 2 runs. Obviously, pitch count was a little bit elevated there. Would have loved for him to get through that 6th or get, into the 6th. But nevertheless, definitely will take it, giving the A's a strong opportunity to win this one. And like I mentioned before, when the A's are going good offensively, it's when they pass it to the next guy and they build on those and add those insurance runs late in games. So that's what successful teams do. The A's don't necessarily always do it consistently. But that is the nature of a young team. But when they do it, it is a thing of beauty. They had that 3-run crooked number inning in the 4th to get that lead, and they never let go of it. And then to have those put away knockout blows in the 8th and 9th inning, that's huge when you're trying to close out a team, especially in such a tight game for the majority of the game. Some strong pitching in those middle innings. Shout out Jack Perkins for bridging the gap from Sevy to getting it to Sterner to close out that 9th, up 6 at that point. But Perkins really got some big outs there. It was a 1-run advantage until that 9th inning. So definitely some higher leverage outs that he had to record. And he's really been answering the bell in that role. So looking forward to seeing him continue to flourish over the second half and see what that translates to for his 2026 season. But just wanted to shout him out there. Those are some important innings and outs they recorded in game 2 of this one. Shea Langoliers, he's really been hot since coming off the IL right before the All-Star break, but coming off right into the second half. In 2 games, he has 2 homers and a double, so he's basically picking up right where he left off as soon as things were ending going into the All-Star break. So good to see him getting right back on track there. That late offensive surge in those last 2 innings were very impressive, and that's the way you break the will of a team. And they were 5 for 9 in runners in scoring position. This one much better than they typically have done with all the opportunities that they've gotten over the last couple of months. So good to see. They are cashing in and not trying to do too much in more situations than not. Let's see if that trend will continue in the rubber match by the lake, a day game in Cleveland, as game 3 would decide who would be victorious in this series, as Jeffrey Springs would be going for the A's up against Gavin Williams. Once again, the theme in all 3 of these games, Cleveland would get the scoring started. The Guardians would get a run in each of the first 2 innings in this one via an RBI single by David Fry, who continues to smash lefties, and Austin Hedges to grab an early 2-0 lead. Guardians with a backbreaker in the 4th. Springs, he was almost out of the woods in this inning. He gets the 2 outs, but then, of course, who does he get burned by? It's that man again. David Fry loves left-handed pitching. He rips a 3-run double, clears the bases to left to extend their lead to 5-0. A's would get on the board in the next half inning via Tyler Soderstrom scampering home on a Gavin Williams wild pitch, who was absolutely brilliant in this one. It's now 5-1 in the 5th. Springs, he'd be done after 4. Springs, he went 4 innings, 9 hits allowed, 5 runs, no walks, 4 Ks. Certainly not one of his finer performances. Would remain 5-1 until the 7th, when Angel Martinez smashed a solo home run to right center to extend their lead to 6-1. Nick Kurtz would try to spark another rally, ripping an RBI double in the 8th to narrow the score to 6-2. However, Guardians would get 2 more in the 8th and hold the A's off the scoreboard in the 9th. This one's over. Ball game over. Guardians win 8-2, and they take 2 out of 3 in the first series back from the All-Star break. So Jeffrey Springs, like we said in a couple previous episodes, that he was our A's pitcher of the year so far. He's been their most consistent. Unfortunately, didn't have a good showing in this one. And he was so close to getting out of that tight situation. Made a couple of good pitches earlier in the inning. Again, just made that one mistake that you just can't if you're a left-handed pitcher to David Fry. It's that fastball middle in. He smashes it all day. You look at his baseball savant, it's off the charts. I mean, or you look at his splits, it's significantly leaning heavily favored with much higher success for him against left-handed pitching than right. So you got to be a little bit more careful with him in those situations. But nevertheless, he burns them. He makes them pay. Nothing you can do now. It's over and done with. David Fry, he was absolutely unbelievable in this series. So many run producing hits, the home run, the double. He definitely came through as a big factor as to why Cleveland won this series. And Gavin Williams, he set the tone in this one. 11 Ks in his performance. He was absolutely dominant. The only run he allowed was on that wild pitch. So nevertheless, he did his part, and he pitched like an ace, in my opinion. And the A's, they kind of went back to that old trend of not hitting runners in scoring position. So they did have their opportunities earlier in this one, didn't cash in, and then the rest was history. Once Williams set in, they were 1 for 12 in runners in scoring position. So that's a trend they got to get a little bit more consistent in. You see flashes of it, and it looks really well, and the offensive output is off the charts when they're cashing in runners in scoring position. But when they're leaving these guys on base, not being able to cash in these early opportunities, that's when you see the offense go into these late inning, kind of these lulls where they're just going 1-2-3, 1-2-3, quick at bats, and that's not the rhythm that you want as an offense. So now on the year, the A's dropped to 42-59, and they're now on to Arlington, and we will be too as well in terms of our switch of focus here at A's Day, as we will be previewing the A's Ranger series, which is scheduled to start first pitch 5:05 local time Pacific. Here, if you're out here in California watching, they're going to be down at Globe Life, taking on the Rangers, kicking off another 3-game set. So on the air, we're going to get to know the Rangers a little bit. They're an even 50 and 50 in terms of win-loss record through 100 games. They are third in the American League West. They are led by manager Bruce Bochy. In their last series, they won 2 out of 3 against baseball's best in the Detroit Tigers. They won game 1 2-0. They won game 2 4-1 before dropping yesterday's game on Sunday Night Baseball. They lost 2-1 with a terrific performance by Cy Young favorite right now, Tariq Skubal. He got the no decision because the Rangers did tie it late in that game, but then the Tigers rallied the inning after and held on to that slim 2-1 advantage. On the year, in terms of statistics, the Rangers offensively, they're hitting .230 as a team, which is 27th in baseball. They've clubbed 104 home runs, which is 19th, and they've scored an even 400 runs, which is tied for 24th in all baseball. On the mound, this is what's been keeping this team afloat and carrying them this year. They're pitching to a 3.21 team ERA, which is the best in all of baseball. They have logged 795 strikeouts, which is 22nd in baseball, and they've allowed 282 walks, which is 5th least. So it seems like their pitching staff is pitching with intent. Obviously, they have guys like DeGrom and Eovaldi that are racking up the strikeouts, but a lot of their pitching staff are pitching the contact, and they're getting some good defense behind them. So that is a good formula for winning some more games, more rather than not. When you have some solid pitching and defense, and the offense on days will do just enough. Obviously, that's been a sore point for them. With that, let's get to some hitters to watch as you tune in for this series to kick off a new week. Corey Seager, the shortstop for the Rangers, he's hitting .269 on the year with 13 home runs, 33 runs batted in, and an .845 OPS. Adolis Garcia, the right fielder, he's hitting .232 with 13 home runs, 56 runs batted in, and a .675 OPS. And outfielder Wyatt Langford, he's hitting .234 with 15 home runs, 38 runs batted in, and a .732 OPS. So key on these three guys. They usually have some pretty enjoyable at-bats. Not a ton of depth in this Rangers lineup. Where you're going to see a lot more fireworks and impressive performances, in my opinion, is going to be who they have going on the mound this week. As we're going to shift to that and talk about when you can tune in to watch the A's in action against the Rangers and the pitching matchups. So game 1, like I mentioned, is tonight, Monday night, 5:05 local time. Jacob Lopez will be going for the A's, going up against Jack Leiter of the Rangers. Game 2, the A's haven't determined who will be starting. We'll update you on that on social media as soon as we know. They'll be going up against former Cy Young Award winner and putting up another Cy Young Award type season, Jacob DeGrom. That's also a 5:05 start. And then Wednesday's game, the rubber match, is also going to be a 5:05 start. So that'll be easy to remember. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday games, all 5:05. So as soon as you're hopped off of work, turn on the TV and watch the A's in action. So that works out perfectly. But game 3, you have J.P. Sears looking to rebound for the A's with a better start here, going up against Patrick Corbin, who is having a renaissance of a season in Texas. That will be a left-on-left duel. So let's get to know briefly the Rangers starters, who the A's offense is going to go up against. So Jack Leiter, son of former big leaguer Al Leiter. Al Leiter also does a lot of work now on MLB Network. He had a very prestigious career. Jack looking to follow in his father's footsteps on the 2025 year, definitely having a much better showing than he did in his first time around in 2024. He's 5-6 on the year with a 4.36 ERA. In 16 games started, he's logged 80 and a third innings pitched, 69 strikeouts, 38 walks, and a 1.36 WHIP. In his last start, he got the win. They won 7-3 at Houston. He went 5 and a third innings pitched, 5 hits allowed, 3 runs, 4 walks, 6 strikeouts. He works with a 5-pitch mix: fastball, slider, sinker, changeup, curveball, and he works with a high octane fastball, averaging 97.1 miles an hour on his fastball in terms of miles per hour velocity, which is in the 88th percentile of all qualified pitchers, according to Baseball Savant. His fastball, it possesses some very strong carry and riding life, and the whiff has been consistent with that pitch because it does appear a little bit heavier to a hitter, but the command has not been consistent. So that's where, if you can wait him out a little bit and don't go after his pitches, you may get something. While maybe coming in at a pretty good clip, you may be able to stick to one zone and do some damage in a hitter-friendly count. Definitely has been improved, like I mentioned, from 2024. The command continues to impress. The ERA has been significantly down. He's improved his velo on his slider, so that makes it an effective fastball slider combo, making it easier for him to pitch sequence and keep hitters from sitting on one pitch in certain situations. He's able to tunnel the fastball slider to kind of make it look like it's appearing on the same plane, but has a different spin and break, obviously. His pitch sequencing, like I said, is improved, but it can be very predictable, especially to right-handed hitters. So certainly look for guys like Langoliers and Rooker to stay hot there and be able to pick something out, especially if he falls behind to hitters more times than not. So looking forward to seeing him throw, one of the younger prospects in all of baseball, the rising pitchers. But hopefully I do think the A's can have some success tonight, especially if his command is not quite locked in, especially early in this one. A's will just have to cash in on runners in scoring position. Opportunities, I'm going to say, out of the games this weekend, they're going to be their most prevalent. Excuse me, not weekend. The kickoff this week, they're going to be most prevalent in tonight's game. I do think they'll have the most offensive chances because tomorrow's starter is going to be a whole different story. That's Jacob deGrom, and obviously anyone can be beat on any given day, but this guy has been one of the toughest customers besides in the American League in all of baseball. On the air, he's racked up a 9-2 win-loss record with a 2.32 ERA. In 19 games started, he's racked up 112 in the third innings pitched, 113 strikeouts, and only 24 walks, pitching to a .91 WHIP. In his last start, he got the no decision at Houston. I think they ended up losing that game 5-4 in extra innings. But he went 6 innings, allowed 4 hits, 2 runs, 1 walk, 8 Ks. So a strong quality outing from deGrom. He works with a 4-pitch mix of fastball, slider, changeup, curveball. His fastball velocity, he also brings it. This has continued to uptick since his return earlier this year. He's working with 97.4 miles an hour on his average fastball, which is in the 92nd percentile in all of baseball. He's putting up a Cy Young Award season. Absolutely. And it's good to see him back in health and pure form. Seems like he's getting better and better each time out. He's probably third right now, if I had to guess, in terms of AL Cy Young Award voting, behind Tariq Skubal of the Tigers and Garrett Crochet of the Red Sox. But I do think that gap can be shortened, especially if deGrom continues to put up these kind of performances. He has tons of red. His Baseball Savant page is bleeding red, which is a great thing as a pitcher. That's exactly what you want. And the numbers below is where he ranks in the 80th percentile or better amongst all qualified pitchers in Major League Baseball. Pitching run value, he's racked up 23, which is in the 98th percentile. His fastball run value is 10, which is 94th. Breaking ball run value he's racked up 13, which is the best in baseball. His chase percentage is 31.6, which is in the 83rd percentile. Whiff percentage of 29.5 is in the 79th percentile. His walk percentage is 5.6, which is in the 86th percentile. A couple things that have really keyed in on his return to success in Cy Young form. He has lowered his arm angle to a 30-degree release point, which is really attributed to long-lasting arm health. I do think that puts less strain on his arm as compared to coming from a higher angle. So I do think that's an adjustment he's made to work to have and attain that durability and be available for his team every 5th day, like he's shown so far in 2025. And I do think that's what's led to his Cy Young worthy opponent or Cy Young worthy performance this year so far, because his opponents haven't been able to adjust to that lower arm angle quite yet consistently. I do think there have been guys that put up some hard contact against him, but I do think that's with any pitcher. I do think if you fall behind, anybody can have their day. And he doesn't do that often, especially this year. His walk percentage being 5.8, which means he's attacking. But I would say if you're going to get something early, because once he gets into a groove, that fourth, fifth inning, you can say good night, Irene, because it's going to be a long night for you. So I do know that the A's have had some success against DeGrom a little bit, but this is going to be a tough challenge. Really looking forward. It's always a pleasure watching him pitch. Be sure you won't want to miss him on the mound. He'll be making his 20th start. Yes, he'll be making his 20th start tomorrow, Tuesday night, 5:05 first pitch. He's always must-see TV. Hopefully the A's have an answer for him this time around. And the third starter that the A's will face in the rubber match of this one on Wednesday night, again, 5:05, will be left-handed pitcher Patrick Corbin, who is having a renaissance season of his own. On the 2025 year, he's pitching to a 6-7 win-loss record with a 3.91 ERA. In 18 games started, he's racked up 99 innings pitched, 80 strikeouts, 29 walks, and a 1.29 whip. In his last start, he got the win. They beat the Tigers 2-0. He went 5 2/3 innings pitched, 3 hits allowed, no runs, 2 walks, 6 Ks. So a very solid performance indeed. He works with a 6-pitch mix, and that's one thing in his MO that he has a lot to work with in terms of mixing up his pitch sequencing. Slider, sinker, cutter, changeup, fastball, curveball. His fastball velocity is 91.3 on the year so far. He is another one that loves to attack the zone. He only has a 7 walk percentage, which is in the 71st percentile in all baseball. He works to induce soft contact. That's his MO, as compared to the two guys that the A's are going to be faced up against earlier in the series on Monday and Tuesday. Those are guys that rely on the high-octane fastball. Corbin is a guy that looks to be crafty, working to the edges, and his most used pitch this year has been that slider. So he really loves to keep guys off balance, loves keeping guys looking and guessing in different quadrants of the zone, and just getting them in that in-between is how he's been having his success this year. Definitely has had a significant improvement in limiting opponent hard hit contact, with that slider being the more predominantly his primary pitch as compared to the fastball. That's early in his career, he used to rely on that high octane fastball, but he's definitely reinvented himself. And you see guys do that over the progression of their career. And a guy like Corbin, who was in his 13th season, obviously there have been some years mixed in with a high contract and low productivity, but he's continued to work, and hats off to him to figuring it out in Texas so far. Cutter, that is the pitch that right-handed hitters for the A's should be keying in on. I do think that's a pitch that he still does give up some hard contact on. I think it goes right into that hitting zone. So, again, I'm seeing Langoliers, Rooker having some fun potentially against him. And with that rounds out the 3 probable pitchers that the A's offense will be going up against. It's time to make our predictions. Let's start with the home run prediction. So, in our last series, shout out Brent Rooker. He made us right 1-for-1 after the All-Star break. Let's see how long we can keep this streak alive. We did get the one right before the All-Star break as well, with Nick Kurtz going yard in that Blue Jay series. So we're up to 2 in a row. Let's see if we can make it 3. In this series, we're not going to bet against destiny. We do think it's in the cards. Shea Langoliers, he is basically going to set up shop. He should have a second home in Arlington, Texas. He loves hitting at Globe Life Field. I think he's had 9 or 10 career home runs there. Well, I think he's going to add to his tally. He is our home run prediction. Shea Langoliers is going to hit at least 1 home run in this 3-game set. And we're going to stay positive in terms of the series prediction. We're going to say the A's are going to take 2 out of 3 in this one. We do think the scoring these games might be tight. We do think tonight is going to be their best offensive output. We do think they'll win tonight 6-2 before losing 4-1 tomorrow, and then bouncing back and winning a 1-run game 4-3 on Wednesday's game. So we're excited to watch some interdivision AL West battle to see if the A's can make up any ground here and see how they look going up against the Rangers, who have been surging as of late. All right, before we get on out of here, we want to do a quick ad read, like I mentioned at the top of the show, for one of our newer partners up in Sacramento, give our experience about the Holiday Inn, and then get on out of here and let you know what to expect on our Thursday show. So don't go anywhere. Not too much more to go in this one, but we want to stick with it and give credit where credit is due. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this. All right. The Holiday Inn, Sacramento Downtown Arena. Stay, work, and play there. near the shopping, dining, and entertainment of the historic Old Sacramento waterfront, a 15-minute drive from Sacramento International Airport. Our downtown hotel is a few blocks from the Golden One Center and downtown Commons, and a short walk from the California State Capitol and Safe Credit Union Convention Center. Host meetings and events in our boardrooms and ballrooms. Work out in our fitness center and take a dip in our rooftop pool. Enjoy breakfast at Cypress Grill or gather with friends and colleagues for dinner and drinks. Unwind in our comfortable rooms and suites with amenities and cityscape views. We, the Holiday Inn, are the ideal choice for your Sacramento adventure. So, we could not agree with that more, and we wanted to kick off our experience there during our Sacramento weekend, capturing content at the ballpark and all around town. We were fortunate enough to land a partnership with the Holiday Inn downtown Sacramento Arena. Shout out Hope Puernes. She set it up. She coordinated it. We appreciate her. And they are definitely going to be our destination of choice whenever we get the opportunity to visit the capital city once again, as long as they will have us. But definitely was a very pleasant experience from start to finish. The check-in process, everyone was very hospitable. I felt like as soon as we got to the desk, we were welcomed with open arms, and they gave us everything we needed in terms of where to park, the parking permit, which you do have on-site parking right there available for you for a fee, but you definitely have it within proximity of the hotel lobby, and there is a garage attached to as well in case there's any overflow parking. We were there for a July weekend, and we had ample spots available to us at the up close and personal at the parking right in front of the lobby area. So definitely didn't feel like there was any difficulty in that area. So definitely if you're thinking about that, I know being in a city sometimes parking can be an issue. It was nothing but gold with the Holiday Inn indeed. Their location is absolutely brilliant, by the way, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But you step outside, there's just so much to do to experience the wonders of Sacramento. Getting back, we went through the check-in process. Once we were there, we went up to our room. We were on the 14th floor, which happens to be the executive floor. So definitely was cool experiencing that. You enter the room, and it's absolutely spacious with cityscape views, just like the advertisement says. They are true to their word. Absolutely breathtaking. The beds were absolutely comfortable, and definitely had a restful night's sleep for the 2 nights that we were there. And it was just everything we needed. We loved the Dove soap actually in the room. Dove, it seems like it's really good for your skin. And, they had, all your shampoos, conditioners, body wash, but then the lotions too as well. Especially when you're in that Sacramento heat in the heat of summer, your skin can dry out. So certainly a good opportunity to be able to reapply after a long day or the next day after being out, whatever the case may be. They have some high quality amenities there too to help enhance your stay. So it felt very comfortable. The service was immaculate. Whenever we needed towels or anything like that, they were right on it. And it was of the utmost cleanliness. So would highly recommend anyone that's looking to come to Sacramento to cheer on the green and gold. This is the place you want to stay. The Holiday Inn, Sacramento downtown arena. Downtown arena is where you want to be. You'll be glad you did. And now I'll get back to the location. So you step outside. If you go out of the lobby area, you make an immediate left, and then you make a left, and you're still on the hotel property, but there's a nice open walkway. In one direction, you could walk to Old Sacramento, where there's a bunch of cool little shops and local taverns and old historical landmarks of Sacramento. And actually, that's where the California State Railroad Museum is too as well, which we are going to discuss on a future episode because we did visit that attraction during our stay, which was a very cool place to be, literally and figuratively. We'll get to that again, probably next Monday, I would say, for that. And on the other direction was Doco. So if you're not familiar, that's the Commons. It's downtown Sacramento. It's a bunch of new restaurants and shops and it's all connected in the plaza area right by Golden One Center, home of the Sacramento Kings. And over there you have Tom's Watch Bar, which we had the opportunity to eat lunch there the couple days that we were there. And we'll get to that experience on Friday. It's very delicious. And for our Kings fans out there, as basketball season comes around, it's a great place to grab a drink and a bite before going in to cheer on your Kings. Indeed. Like I said, we'll get to that on Friday more in detail. So many great things about the Holiday Inn. The place itself had all the amenities you needed. The room was absolutely comfortable. The hospitality could not be anything more you asked for. If you want to get that fitness, you want to get that workout in to kick off your day or any time of day, it's open 24 hours. You have access to it with your room key. They have a great outdoor pool, especially when we were there. It was 97 degrees out. Nothing more refreshing than taking a quick dip when you can. And can't speak highly enough of it. But like I said, next time we're in town and we want to go to spend the weekend to maybe catch a couple A's games at Sutter Health Park, Holiday Inn is going to be our preferred place to stay. And we can't thank them enough for their support. We want to make sure they got their credence, and we are going to put a post on social media too as well. So there's going to be a bunch of content coming out. So be sure it's going to be a specialized flyer. It's going to be a website, phone call, address, so you know exactly where to go to book Holiday Inn for your next Sacramento weekend. But we actually are going to be also posting content on our social media, room review, basically just showing like the room itself, at all aspects of the Holiday Inn, all the amenities, all of that good stuff. You can check it out on our YouTube channel, on our Instagram page, potentially X too as well. We posted stories during our stay. So for future content trips that we do take, be sure to follow along with us on our Instagram in particular, because we like to post a lot of stories to give you the live in-look experience. And then you get to relive it again with us later on once we're able to post it, once we capture everything, edit it, all of that good stuff. So be sure to check that out. That should be all uploaded on there by end of day today. If you listen to us on Monday, at the latest on Tuesday, but I do believe we'll be there by Monday night. So that caps off our experience, Holiday Inn, Sacramento, downtown Arito. Be sure to check it out. Stay there for your next weekend experience. You'll be glad you did. They got a nice little breakfast in there too as well, buffet style. You won't go hungry. You have a nice little place after a night out or a day out in Sacramento. If you want to kick off your night or spend the night, they have a nice little lounge bar area where the patrons of the hotel are there to grab a drink and just kind of unwind and enjoy the weekend or whenever you're there. So be sure to check them out. The Holiday Inn, they're great. You'll be glad you did. All right. And that wraps another edition of A's Day. Appreciate you kicking off your week on this Monday edition of our show. We recapped what went down as the A's dropped 2 out of 3 in their series to kick off the second half of the season to the Cleveland Guardians. And tonight they kick off a new series, a new week with an AL West rival in the Texas Rangers. 3-game set. First pitch is scheduled tonight, 5:05 local time. Jacob Lopez will be getting the ball for the A's going up against Jack Leiter, looking for the green and gold to start a new winning streak. And at the end of today's show, we just gave a nice shout out to the Holiday Inn, Sacramento Downtown Arena, for a destination place to stay the next time you're in Sacramento for a weekend trip or you're coming in to cheer on the Athletics. So stone throws away from Sutter Health Park. You can see it, the stadium lights, and the Tower Bridge from the hotel. That's all for today's show. We'll be back on Thursday. Like I said, we like to align with the first game of a new series. The A's are going to be starting a 4-game series on Thursday down in Houston. That'll be the end of their road trip. That'll be a big 4-game series for a lot of AL West reasons. I don't know, for the A's in particular, we'll see how they do over this week. It's a big week if they want to claw their way back into it. A lot of opportunity against AL West opponents coming up, with their next 10 coming against AL West opponents. So we'll see what that looks like. We're excited to be back Thursday to talk all about it. And then also we will talk about our experience at Tom's Watch Bar. We want to shout them out, another partner. There'll be a new ad read there. And then we'll see what other A's news we have to discuss. Maybe we'll have a future content trip in the works very soon. Maybe something to look forward to. Once again, I'm your host, Joe Grado. Thank you for kicking off your Monday with us. Enjoy some A's baseball this week, and hopefully we see a lot of green and gold W's. Holy Toledo, let's go A's.